So Kevin Porter has had himself a bit of a run for the Cavs recently. A couple 20-point games, a lot of high teen games. And based on what was being said about him earlier in the year, I am interested to see where he goes for the Cavs, because the thing that stands out to me the most with Kevin Porter Jr. is his ball handling. He seems like a really confident ball handler who doesn't pick up his dribble that often. So there will be times where he attempts to beat a guy off the dribble, doesn't happen, dribbles back out, and then does it again, and he has had a bit of success with doing this. He's ran some pick and rolls that have looked pretty good for Cleveland lately. I don't know what his actual pick and roll numbers are for the year. I'm going to choose not to look at them because they're probably not good, but he's a rookie, and this stuff sometimes takes a while, and you don't really figure it out until the point of the year where your numbers are going to be bad no matter how good you finish the season. But it looks okay. He seems like a bigger guard who can actually do something off the dribble, and that is interesting, especially when you look at the fact that they've got Garland and Sexton, and could potentially be three dudes who can go off the dribble. Maybe Porter is the guy who should actually be playing over pick either one. Sexton has been better than Garland so far, so if you were already off of Darius Garland, then there you go. There's also a chance all three of them could play together, but I do want to stick to Porter a little longer. One thing is he's not like super tall. I did say he was like a bigger guard. He's like 6'4", 6'5". He has a very big wingspan. He's like 6'9", 6'10" wingspan. And he's also pretty damn athletic. We've seen him have a couple of nice dunks this year, so because of all that, he's like effectively taller than he actually is, you know what I mean? Could he be a playmaker? Potentially. He showed some signs of being a passer for whatever team he played in college, USC. Even so, it was like 1 assist a game for him there. But just looking at the way he operates, and when you really look at his highlights and he's just in the teeth of the defense and he's looking around for what to do, even if he's more of a shoot-first guy right now, he shows the signs of someone who I think could be a bit of an assist guy. Now, maybe not some big-time playmaker, but perhaps a solid 4 or 5 a game or whatever. Kind of like maybe like Gordon Hayward, one of those wings who, yeah, he's not going to be LeBron as a passer, but he's going to be better than the average non-point guard at playmaking. So maybe that's Porter's ceiling as a passer there. I guess there's also a fear that he's too shot happy, and his assists are never really going to be better than they're occasionally at like 3 or 4 a game. But I don't know, like he's had 3 assists in 4 straight games, and just something about it. I do think he can be a bit of a passer for this Cleveland team. Now, of course, while being able to operate in the pick and roll is great, you also should be able to just beat some guys off the dribble, and he's been able to do it, but at the same time, I think he does need to tighten up his handle more if he's going to be able to consistently do that. Because while he can bust out some nice dribble moves here and there, they are usually pretty basic. And again, it's not the tightest handle in the world. So I feel like if you had a good defender on him and they were really like reaching on him and stuff, I do feel like you could force him to pick the ball up right now. But he's only 19. So I think he's got time to be a pretty damn good ball handler. And again, it's not bad. He's not going to be some stationary offensive player who is only finishing plays. He can definitely create something right now. If we move on to the shooting, his 3 it's interesting. I mean, 35% on 3 a game right now. That's pretty good. He had a good percentage in college, but he didn't shoot that many. When I look at his 3, his release is definitely lower than you'd like it to be. It might be a little too close to his head as well, but the results have not been bad. They've been okay up to this point, and he's even had a couple of games where his 3 has looked kind of awesome. But I did take a look at some of his 3-point misses, and occasionally it does look bad. There's a couple air balls or barely hitting the rim in there, but the percentage is still intriguing enough. I mean, we're, half a game into the season? Well, he's played 42 games, so sure, we can say that. And I just feel like if he wasn't a good shooter, it would have revealed itself by now. Not saying he's a great one by any means, but similar to his ball handling, I think where he's at right now as a dribbler or as a shooter, it's like, okay, that is something you can work with. Does he potentially need to adjust his form a little bit? Maybe. I don't know. He is pretty confident going up with his 3-ball, so that's nice. 71% free throws, okay. In college, he shot 52% on free throws, which is, of course, bad, so that's not a good sign, but up to this point, it's been better. So it's like, again, it looks like if he works on it, he can improve from where he's at now to being a pretty nice shooter. Now, other things to make note of, just in terms of shot selection and stuff, he is attempting about 25% of his shots from mid-range to long 2-point range. If you take into account like floaters and all that, he's closer to about 35% on those types of shots. And he's bad at all that. Like his finishing at the rim and his 3-pointer are what is holding up his efficiency right now, because his mid-range stuff is bad. So we're going to have to see if he can work on his pull-up game or if he should just not take those shots as much. We're going to have to see. That's going to be a process with him. But still, for a guy who was drafted, with the 30th pick, he seems like he could be an NBA player. And not just that, but if things go pretty well for him, like, could he be the real young star of the Cavs? Potentially, but I'm also a Sexton and Garland hater. Point being, Porter's good. And Porter, he's got to be out there with those two. And if Cleveland has some sort of moment where they're like, man, we should probably get off of one of these guys to get the ball to Porter more, I wouldn't be shocked if they came to that decision. I mean, there's definitely value in holding on to all 3 of them because you got to give young guys time to figure it out. But at the same time, if some move came around and suddenly Porter was playing like 30 minutes a game, I really wouldn't be surprised. Of course, that's not going to happen the rest of this season. And if I was Cleveland, I wouldn't really do anything too drastic until I saw at least one more year with Sexton and Garland. And Porter, of course. There's a chance Porter's just having a nice little stretch here. But, yeah, call me crazy. I think there's something about Kevin Porter Jr. that's just interesting, whether that means he can be a shot creator or a playmaker, combination of the two. If his jumper keeps improving, he can be an on-ball and an off-ball guy. We'll have to see.